Here is the same prompt run 3 times. 3 completely different answers, one too short, one a wall of text, one in the wrong tone. The prompt wasn't wrong, it was vague. And a vague prompt gets you a lucky output, not a reliable one. Think of Claude as a brilliant new colleague who's sharp but has none of your context. If your instructions would confuse a teammate with no background, they'll confuse Claude too. That's the whole game of this domain, making the implicit explicit. Welcome back to the CCA exam prep course. Episode 8. We are into domain 4 now. Prompt engineering and structured output. Another 20% of the exam. This episode is the prompting half. Same honesty note as always. The public exam guide spells out domain 1 only. So domain 4 I'm mapping from Anthropic's prompt engineering docs, and I'll keep it to what they actually say, the stable techniques in the order the docs recommend reaching for them. Technique 1 and the foundation under everything else, be clear and direct. Claude responds well to explicit instructions and follows them literally, so the more precisely you say what you want, the better the result. That means filling out your success criteria. What does a good answer actually look like? State the output format you expect. When order or completeness matters, give the steps as a numbered list. And tell Claude why the task matters. Context improves the output. It doesn't waste tokens. Anthropic's golden rule for this is the colleague test. Show your prompt to someone with minimal context on the task and ask them to follow it. If they'd hesitate, so will Claude. And if you want effort beyond the obvious, ask for it explicitly. Don't rely on the model to read your mind. Clear and direct is cheap, and it fixes more problems than any other single move. Technique 2, and it's the highest leverage one on the list. Examples: few shot prompting, also called multi-shot. Instead of describing the output you want, you show it a handful of input-output pairs right there in the prompt. The docs are specific here. 3 to 5 examples for best results. Make them relevant. They should mirror your real cases and make them diverse. Cover the edge cases and vary them enough that Claude doesn't latch onto a pattern you didn't intend. Examples are the most reliable way to pin down format, tone, and structure. Far more reliable than adjectives like professional or concise. And there is a structural detail that matters. Wrap each one in example tags and group them in an examples block, so Claude can tell your demonstrations apart from your instructions. If you only do 2 things from this episode, it's be explicit and show examples. That tag idea generalizes into technique 3. Structure your prompt with XML tags. When a prompt mixes instructions, background context, the data to work on, and examples all together, the boundaries blur, and Claude can misread where one ends and the next begins. Wrapping each part in its own tag, instructions, context, document, example, removes the ambiguity. Use clear, consistent names and nest them. When the content has a hierarchy like a documents block holding several document entries, it's a small habit that pays off most exactly when prompts get long and complex. Technique 4. For genuinely hard problems, let Claude reason before it answers. Asking the model to think step by step, to work through the logic before committing, measurably improves accuracy on multi-step reasoning, complex code, and long agent loops. One terminology update. So you're current on today's models. This is adaptive thinking. The model decides how much to think based on the task, and you tune the depth with an effort setting rather than the old manual token budget. The principle the exam cares about is unchanged. Reasoning room helps on hard tasks and it's overkill on easy ones. Technique 5. Give Claude a role in the system prompt. Telling the model who it is: a senior support lead, a meticulous code reviewer, a careful financial analyst, focuses its behavior and tone for your use case. The docs note even a single sentence makes a real difference. The role sets the lens, your instructions and examples fill in the detail. For the exam, Remember the split? Persistent identity and behavior go in the system prompt. The specific task goes in your message. One more that trips people up on current models, and it's worth its own beat. Today's Claude follows instructions literally, and it does not silently guess your intent. The classic example from the docs: ask, can you suggest some changes? And you'll get suggestions, not edits. Even if you wanted the work done, say make these changes and it acts. Same with scope. If a rule should apply broadly, say so, because the model won't quietly generalize a narrow instruction. The lesson ties the whole episode together. Precision isn't politeness, it's how you get the behavior you actually want. Let's apply it. Scenario 1. A team is building a customer support agent on Claude. It has to classify every ticket into a fixed set of categories and reply in the company's tone, but it keeps drifting. Inconsistent categories, replies that sound off-brand. What's the best fix? Option A. Make the prompt longer and more forceful. Add very important, be consistent, and repeat the rules 3 times. Option B. Give the agent a clear role and the exact category list, state the output format, and add 3 to 5 diverse example tickets, each with its correct category and an in-tone reply in example tags. Option C. Raise the temperature so the replies are more creative. Option D. Switch to a bigger model and let it infer the categories and tone from each ticket on its own. Walk it. Emphasis and repetition aren't a technique. Be consistent in capital letters doesn't define what consistent means. Vague, just louder, gone. C. Higher temperature increases variation. It makes the exact drift they are complaining about worse, not better. Wrong direction, gone. D. A bigger model still has to infer the categories and the tone. An inference from a vague prompt is the whole problem. You'd be paying more to stay unreliable. Gone. B. An explicit role and category list and format are the success criteria. The diverse examples in tags show the exact shape, clear and direct. Plus few short, the 2 highest leverage techniques aimed straight at the problem. That's the answer. Lock in 4 things. A prompt is a spec, vague spec, lucky output. Reliability comes from making the implicit explicit, and the colleague test is your check. If a teammate would be confused, so is Claude. Reach for the techniques in order: clear and direct first, then context, then examples, then XML structure, then a role. Cheap, high leverage moves before exotic ones. Examples 3 to 5. Relevant and diverse in tags are the single most reliable way to steer the output. For hard problems, let Claude reason before answering. On current models, that's adaptive thinking, tuned by effort. And current models take you literally, say make these changes. Not could you suggest, state the scope, because they won't silently generalize. Precision is how you get the behavior you want. Next episode is the other half of domain 4, structured output, getting reliable JSON with schemas, validating it, and the retry loop when the model gets it wrong. Subscribe, and I'll see you in episode 9.